hopefully that did it. Hopefully.
Live once again.
Okay. Actually, you know what? I didn't talk to you before.
Who, me or Colin? Me?
Yeah.
What? I don't even. What was on episode 7? I don't even remember.
Good start. That's the one where it's like arc. It's the beginning of arc 3. The back and forth Ekko and the memes. How
Oh!
Ekko's like getting smooched up, and then Jayce is over there
Yeah,
getting.
Jayce is in hell. Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah, the timey wimey episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hello.
We're excited to be again. Survived, but we're here. So you might notice you're like, how do I hear Esty? They're muted. Well, Esty's internet broken bad. The bad broke. Super duper broke. And so just took a nice little haul over to where I reside and set up some microphones here. So please give me feedback on.
Yeah, if I sound like shit, not my fault.
I also feel like you guys didn't hear anything we've been saying. I think.
Cool.
Maybe not. We'll see. I think they've only been hearing you, Whipple.
Nice.
Wait.
So your entire explanation of
there
me
we go.
being muted is...
Okay, so we're gonna try that again. Hello, missed everybody. Been a minute since I've streamed. Survived exam week, but we are here now, and I also needed to survive the onslaught of differing opinions of the last bit of Arcane. So I've taken the time to gather my own thoughts, and hopefully I can convey them in some kind of orderly manner tonight. You might notice ST is muted, and you can hear ST.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. Their internet absolutely went to shit, so they drove to me, where I reside, and we set up some kind of rinky-dink little podcasting kind of situation.
Yeah, it's kind of sick.
IRL. Hopefully everything sounds alright. Just give me feedback on how everybody sounds throughout. I'll trust you guys to give me good feedback. But hello, Eric. Hello, Wolf. Hello, Venus. It's nice to see you again. And Nova. Better Nova. I don't recognize you, but welcome. But yeah, basically, been through the ringer with my thoughts on this stuff, and we're just gonna hopefully talk about it. Hopefully you guys are open to having discussions, because I do have more questions than I think I can give you guys answers for. But
yeah, there's quite a few things that I wanted to actually discuss in here.
Discuss.
So, more like just questions that don't really have an answer.
Theo. Howdy. Trying our best is our goal, I think. And hopefully I wanted to add something to the discussion. I think there's already been a lot of discourse on this and a lot of coverage, especially, the beloved DFAB that I take a lot of inspiration from. But I kind of want to take a slightly different lens and just highlight, I think, more of an emotional appeal, which isn't particularly my strength, but I think there is a lot of merit within Arcane that was missed on the emotional aspect in regards to, I don't know, just like some of the coverage I've seen. It's good. It gets the nitty gritty structure, but I think I have a lot of opinions on how it made me feel.
Yeah.
And how it made people feel, and art moving people and all that silly stuff, eh?
To be honest, I really enjoyed this final arc.
You did?
Yeah, I love this final arc.
Oh,
especially, I'm a sucker for tiny, these kind of
episodes.
episodes.
You're a sucker for tiny, whiny stuff?
I'm a sucker for tiny,
Oh, boy.
for going into the past and stuff, completely different stories, what if stories, basically. I'm a sucker for them, so I love this episode so much.
That's okay. Well, that'll give us a lot to talk about, because I actually tend to be the opposite. Whenever there's timey wimey stuff, I go, oh no. And Whipple knows that so well. Look, the little laugh. Mute little laugh. But yes, Eric, I definitely think this could have, I think needed is a strong word, but would have benefited definitely at least from 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Or 3 seasons, I mean, but it's...
Yeah, I tend to agree.
It's just, one of those things that I guess it could have been better. Everything's not perfect, but I don't know, this episode we might disagree on a lot than ST because I really didn't. I had a lot of problems. I had a lot of questions for this episode.
I will do my best to try to answer them.
You'll try to answer them?
Yeah,
Alright, if you're the
if I can.
timey-wimey expert, then maybe I just don't really know what's going on.
Because Eric saying that Ekko is playing Life is Strange is so accurate, because that's the first thing that I compared this episode to.
Oh.
If you remember, I was talking to you about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like one specific time in Life is Strange that I compared this to.
Well, luckily I have ST and Whipple here tonight to help me because I was going through a lot of internal debates about what I wanted to add to the conversation in regards to Arcane. Because I think a lot of it's already been said since I had to step away for exam week. But there's still so much merit in the art, and I think at least what they're trying to have you as the viewer question and think on, and what it's trying, and it did move me emotionally, even though I was aware of a lot of the pitfalls that the structure at least had, or the story could have been stronger in areas. But I was a crying little one sometimes throughout the last arc. The one thing I will just put out there in the open immediately, which makes me maybe too cold, is I didn't care for Aisha.
Yeah, I know you did. I know you didn't. You did not care for her at all.
I know. I feel like from the beginning, I was like, nah, there's no way that Aisha's gonna be important. And then I kind of just, I think I compartmentalized Aisha so hard that I just almost forget that she existed.
I say from the first time that you saw that girl, you were like, I don't really like her. She's mute,
I don't know. So just I'm gonna put that out there. I mean, I don't know. It's not really mentioned again in Arc 3. I don't even think we hear her name.
No, they don't mention her at all. I mean, we see the effects that her death has on Jinx.
Jinx definitely goes with the...
we don't really talk about her.
Oh yeah, we will be doing spoilers because at this point,
yeah.
I think everybody knows everything.
We're already late to the game.
We're very late to the game. But yeah, so we start off this third arc. We're curious what's happening because we leave off on this big kind of cliffhanger. Jayce is all messed up, and we get our Sallow smash, which I loved dearly. And we kind of get a glimpse into another universe? Is that semi-accurate?
Yeah, I would call this not a separate timeline, but rather a parallel universe.
A parallel universe. We'll see. I think Heimerdinger actually has an exact line on what he calls it. But basically we have normal Ekko at first. Or, I hesitate to describe this accurately, but Ekko, the version that's supposed to be in that universe.
Yes.
And then we get, like, the weird arcane goo. And then we get him getting into the body of this Ekko.
Yeah, I think this is where they swap places.
But swap places would have other implications. So this is already where my first question is. I wrote down for hopefully chat and commenters and you and Whipple. Where does the other Ekko go?
That's my question. Okay. I don't know if he gets stuck into like a standstill, like a stasis almost, or if he gets put to where Ekko was.
Well, because that would that couldn't be it.
We don't know how this works.
I thank you for the spoon, ho-hum. I appreciate it.
Oh, no.
It makes me feel right back in it.
We're back to normality.
I just couldn't figure this out because, like you said, if they switch places, then I think that just literally can't be it. Because then that would imply the other Ekko's still there. And then that would leave more questions for if people encountered the other Ekko in the other universe that we go back to.
So I don't know if he was in the other universe. I think he was in the rune... That white area. If they did swap places, I think the place that our Ekko was in
the white area.
Yeah, like that void that Ekko was in before he showed up here.
Okay.
So I don't know if he was there, or if he was just in some type of stasis.
Okay, well, that was just my first question.
Yeah, I honestly don't know about that.
Venus has an interesting idea. Like maybe is in there, but like
watching.
This Ekko is controlling, or like. The little Ekko is...
Like a cyberpunk Johnny Silverhand type, where he's kind of just in his subconscious, but he's not...
That would also be fucked up.
Yeah, that would be really messed up. But, albeit, he does, at the end of the episode, ask what happened.
What do you mean?
When this Ekko, our Ekko leaves the universe, and we see the other, like, the Ekko from this universe on the ground, he asks what happened, as if he doesn't know what happened. So, which was what makes me think he was in a stasis.
You think he was in a stasis in there?
I think so. I think no time at all passed for him. Or he went to that white room and time passes differently there.
Alright, we have a lot of questions, Chad. We're going to be reading them thoroughly because it's a lot of questions. I've particularly stayed away from trying to any I love, of course, I'm not gonna hide it. I love my good old EFAP, but I have actually stayed away for the most part because I really want to make sure my thoughts are my own here, and I know that they've been quite critical, and I've been interested in my own journey with this show and with my enjoyment of EFAP because it's quite contradictory. I really emotionally was moved by a lot of this, and at the same time, I see a lot of the criticisms. So I just wanted to gather my own thoughts. But one of the major complaints I had was this episode in general. I don't even think complaint is the right word. It's maybe catastrophic disappointment.
Really?
Because, I couldn't understand a lot of the conversation that was happening for maybe like the first half. I mean, Ekko seems to know that he's different, like he's in a different body, but isn't asking any of the questions that I think one would ask if they realized they were from another universe. I mean, like when he meets Heimerdinger later too, he very clearly is like, oh, okay, I thought I was going insane, but this there's a lot. We'll get to it. I don't know, but I liked a lot of the Jayce scenes.
Also, you just passed by it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you notice that? I didn't notice this on my first watch through.
Oh,
in
the
the reflection, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is so neat to me. The little reflection, instead of showing Powder, who it actually is, it shows Jayce.
Yeah, I that's the thing is this episode is really interesting for me because the scenes with Ekko, I struggled with a lot, but then the scenes with Jayce, I was like, okay, all right, I like this. So I don't know, maybe the entirety of the episode. How many?
You know what's so funny? I have more questions about the Jayce scenes than
okay,
I do
maybe
about
we
the
can
Ekko
answer
scenes.
each other's questions. Okay, we'll answer each other's questions. We got it. And this is the thing is that this is why I've taken a time off. Because I know that this episode is so beloved. I did a lot of reading on it, and I was really debating whether or not I think I have the kind of community where I can explore my disliking of this episode with you guys in a manner that doesn't make me feel like super sad. I am a sensitive little jelly bean. I try really hard, though, to be open-minded. But, yeah, I was hesitant to share this because the characterization of Ekko, specifically here, with how he seems to understand what's going on, and so they're trying to balance the line of like the morality of it, and then also the implications for Jinx/Powder, because we know at the very end of the episode, we're just gonna be skipping around, guys. I hope that's all right. We're not doing it the traditional way this time around. We know because of the very, very end of the episode that this version of Jinx/Powder actually had the crystals the whole time. So when you rewatch this episode back with that in mind, understanding that she did have these crystals, it kind of gets a little confusing in regards to she knows how desperately they were trying to make this stuff from the scraps
that they had.
Yeah.
At any time she could have just
pulled that out. So it almost implies like, well, what does that imply? I don't want to put my opinion out there yet, but like, Chad, what do you guys think it implies? And then I kind of thought, and they didn't really expand on this anymore. It was kind of left at this, like, almost maybe inferencing at the idea that this is, like, Jinx is kind of an inevitable character, or, like, something. Like, there's a lot of differing opinions, but...
I don't know if it would imply that, or if it would imply that we're going to see more of Powder.
More of Powder.
Because Powder has the framework for everything that they made. All the plans.
Oh, you're saying in,
she
like,
has all the
future
gear.
projects?
Potentially.
Oh.
She could become a time-traveling Powder if she really wanted to at this point. Or she could go really any route that she wants. She knows how to... She understands tech stack now because of Ekko. And it also makes me wonder, does the other Ekko know about these crystals?
That... I don't know.
Like,
it just put too many more questions.
Obviously, it's not a question that gets answered for us, but if he does, and then... There's a lot of questions that I have about Powder, and not realizing that it's not her Ekko.
That's the thing, too.
A lot
There's,
of
like,
questions
the dialogue choices that both characters make constantly when they're engaging, especially with the Vi scene. It was a moment of, like, how are they not catching on to each other?
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things I go, like, I feel like you'd know pretty immediately if someone was not.
He's a completely different person, and it's your partner.
Yeah, your partner, romantic partner. And that's a great point, actually. It is your romantic partner.
Like, I feel like you would understand that this is not the... Like, from this scene, at first, like, we'll see it in a couple seconds, but he freaks out. He throws things at her. Attacks her.
Yeah.
And she's just like, whoa there.
Well, that's the reflection I saw
Yeah,
there.
of Jinx. Yeah. You can see, like, the makeup from Jinx.
That kind of does... That there is very interesting, because it does maybe imply it is, like, the opposite universe. In a way, and also we have to establish what this universe. We should establish what is in this universe. Okay, we should back up 2 notches actually. Okay, so here's the reason why, personally, for me, Whip will chime in at any time. He's just listening to us crank it out right now. For me,
I'm here listening.
Okay. I would love your input after I give out my spiel. Okay, you like timey-wimey stuff. That's cool. Mm-hmm. For me, as an audience member, what I end up struggling with is, not on purpose, but I end up struggling with holding then care for all of these different realities that I know exist. I mean, I even think this would apply for my real life. If I found out that there were infinite versions of me walking around with, like, minute differences.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would feel like the meaning I have made for myself would still withhold. If that makes sense? I don't know. Basically, what I'm trying to say is... For myself, yeah, but also, like, the care for everything in the same manner of...
Yeah.
It's just, if everything's just a derivative of each other branched off from micro... Like, I got in a car accident here, I didn't, or I ate pasta and didn't here. Like, those tiny differences. I don't know. Whenever I see multiverses, it's... Like, that's why Everything Everywhere All at Once moved me as much as it did. I know you haven't seen that, but it is a portrayal of multiverses that addresses that problem exactly and makes it so beautiful and meaningful. And, like, it even highlights that idea of nothing matters and then also becoming a good thing. But when I saw that we're doing multiversal stuff in this show, what Arcane, to me, was the most strong as is, like, the characters. Like, the characters are so strong. Yeah. And now you're presenting almost like two renditions of the same character. Yeah. So some people I've talked to view each character still like, oh, that's the character. Whereas, like, they're actually 2 different people.
No, they're two completely different people.
So...
in reference to this, like, audio drama that I'm listening to right now... it's all about, like, basically a god gets stuck in somebody's head, and he gets split into 2 personalities. And that split, they are the same person at that point. At the point of the split, they are the same god, right? Okay. But due to his experiences with this guy named Arthur, he becomes a completely different person. So, like, the entire show is about, the name that they give the god in Arthur's head is John. Is John a different person than Yellow? Are they 2 completely different people? I think so, but it could be argued that they are still the same person. Like, I think that kind of idea that once you get to this split, once you get to this point of 2 different people splitting off into 2 separate pathways, like, your experience changes you so much, which is why I don't view these as iterations of myself. Okay. Like, I think I'm differing from you in that opinion of, if I found out there were multiverses of minute differences, well, I would still find myself important.
Yeah, it's not that I don't find myself. It's more of, like, the existential anxiety, like, well, am I just a result of all of the things that have happened to me? What am I but that? It kind of takes away the idea of a spiritual soul. Like, I think if you are religious or you have, like, any inclination of, like, being, like, believing in a god or spirituality, souls, I think that kind of really makes it difficult to still apply that to it. If you're just like, oh, well, what's free will? If this day I was running late and then all of this happened, I'm not the same person no more.
It does. This episode does creep into determinism, like, very heavily, and I do want to talk about it, especially on the Jayce side of things. Actually, on the Ekko side of things too. It teeters onto a point of, if these things didn't happen, the story that we have wouldn't have happened, and it almost seems deterministic. By Victor. Victor is the person determining this.
That's interesting, yeah.
Because...
He's saying this is the path?
Yeah, if if Ekko didn't get the Z drive, if Jayce didn't have that conversation with him in the dystopian world, if all these things didn't happen, if he didn't receive that specific rune and worked on that rune specifically with Victor all those years, if all these things didn't happen, Victor would not have been stopped and we would have gotten back to that other future, that dystopian future. So it does seem very, it does battle that point a lot, I think, of the spirit, of what you're saying, like the spiritual soul.
The spiritual soul. And that's a deeply personal thing, I think, to each person.
Yeah.
But I did, to give this moment its due, this moment here where I think he was just attacking Jinx and should be very disturbed in this moment of, like, I don't recognize myself, like, everything's different, what are these clothes I'm wearing? I thought it was quite beautiful that when he saw Benzo,
he dropped everything.
He didn't even really care for her presence at all. And I liked the audio distortion to kind of relay the state of disbelief that he was in, and then how he falls and
literally knocks everything out of that man's hand
for a hug. So that's
cute.
Moment. And then we also have a brief flicker of the arcane goo in his eye.
Yeah, and I'm curious about that, and with the disruption that we get in the next few scenes. You know how he starts having, like, these, like, I guess you can describe them as headaches? Like how he, like, basically, like, almost, like, collapses because of all the... I wonder if that's just him getting used to this timeline, or if that's, like, something else?
I don't know.
Well,
you know what? Curious. How did the multi-dimensional stuff resonate with you within Arcane?
What are your opinions on it?
So, I'm not as... I don't have as strong of an opinion as you do, but I tend to lean as... I lean away from liking time stuff kind of like you do, just not as, strong of an opinion on it yet.
Do you think it was... Were you, like, your thought... Because you really liked Arcane Season 1, like, a lot.
Yes.
So, when you realized they were going down this path of, like, here's a different version of that world, were you... I don't know, were you receptive to it, or... Why not? I just want to know. The wise wizard over here, what do you think?
It was cool seeing a different path that...
Yeah, so... Oh my god, I'm so glad you said that. Thank you, Whipple. Thank you. I'm bounce off that. Is that cool?
Go for it, yeah.
So basically, this was the duality of my meat, of the silly that you guys have slowly gotten to know over these streams. This was one part of my brain. Listen, this was one part of my brain. One part of my brain was super, like, I am not enjoying this because it was... Because of these... Like, the characters weren't talking in ways that made sense to me. Like, the dialogue that should have occurred of, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna... Like, all of this. It was just so normal all of a sudden. Anyway, so that's one side. I don't want to get into it anymore right now. But the other side was, like, moved emotionally by what was occurring. Like, this moment here, for example, was a moment I was like, wow. And I could really see... I just saw a lot of... Even throughout this episode, where I wasn't particularly happy with the multi-dimensional stuff, having the moments of Ekko... Sorry, having Ekko and him and Powder have, like, that dance, and I guess seeing an alternative universe in which there aren't traumatic incidences, and like I was saying in previous podcasts, when you have that contrast of the light, the heavy and the dark feels so much darker and so much heavier. So seeing what could have been, which is a song, what could have been in the show, it made the weight of what is at stake at the end of this season heavier for me, and also made I guess it moved me, because you often can reflect on the nostalgia and the what ifs. So I did like that.
Yeah.
I wasn't unhappy to see it. I guess I would wish I could have seen it within a different context, within maybe more time built up to this moment.
Yeah, one big thing I have trouble with these types of things is that the time spent on, like, for example, like, when characters go into, like, different times, they don't seem like they spend too much time on it. They don't flesh it out, because it is a hard thing to flesh out.
Well, I mean, you could just clock it away, kind of, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Just, hey, don't think about the mechanics, which that's, you could. I don't think everybody needs to sit there pondering over how it works.
Yeah.
You could just enjoy a story for its story. I understand that. I just think I'm not preset that way. I don't intend to. I'm not sitting there like, let me think about the mechanics of this. I just naturally start to have questions, and then my questions are like happening in the background while I'm watching, and so like I could still be crying, going, "Wow, this is beautiful," while going, like, "I'm not sure how this is working."
Is happening?
Yeah, what is happening? And I think that's really interesting, and why I think me having this silly little YouTube channel will be so fun as I continue, because I see so much merit in wanting to write the best story in regards to, like, structurally, you can't break this down and, like, have the characters and all of this stuff happening and this perfect. But then also, I see such a more creative aspect of storytelling of, like, just moving your audience, even if it's not completely logistical. So if it's something that's maybe doesn't have complete coherency, or it has a lot of questions, I think is a better way of putting it, something that just leaves its audience with, like, questioning the mechanics of it, if it moves you, I feel like then that is still a very valid piece of art.
I feel like there's a lot of stories out there where, like, I heavily question on how the story even functions. But even then, like, I'm willing to look past those things and be like, but, like, it's still, I like the characters, I like the emotion that's put behind these characters, even if the logic and the mechanics of the story itself don't exactly make sense all the time. There are, like, these huge plot holes. Like, you're willing to look past them because...
see, that's where it's completely subjective.
Yeah.
Right? Because then I go to, like, for example, I could not tolerate certain movies. I don't want to point out exact examples, because then we'll get into those. But there were movies I watched where don't even start, Whipple. Don't even start. There were exact examples where the catastrophic continual mishap of, like, all of the plot holes and characters acting out of character and all that was I couldn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Whereas other people were like, oh, I enjoyed it, I could just ignore that and go, how did you just ignore it? But it's like a balancing act.
I've funnily enough seen stories. I'm listening to a time travel story right now, and they completely ignore half the mechanics. Like, they literally describe it as the characters don't understand it, so they don't care.
Oh,
as long as it works.
As long as it works.
But, like, it helps the story, because the more they try to delve into that and the more they try to uncover the mechanics of it, I think it would ruin the story. Because, like, there's so much that they can do without understanding.
Wow, they knew. Veternova knew. Anyway, I literally got... Did I tell you I literally got a migraine when I was in the theater?
No.
Luckily, I was the only one in there with Whipple, but I started laughing, and then my head started hurting.
Not okay.
I was not okay.
Wonder why you were the only ones in there.
But so, like, hear me out, right? I think if I wasn't so invested in season 1, like, if they didn't do such a phenomenal job making me care about these characters in season 1, I'm not sure I could have withstood the inconsistencies and questions about the mechanics here in season 2. So I think that, like, carried me enough to get through.
You're saying season 2 as a whole, or this episode specifically?
Season 2 as a whole, but
okay.
I mean, I think, you know what? I can conflate this show, season 2. I feel like it's closer to a poem than it is to a clear, I don't know.
Yeah, you've described this to me before.
Yeah, I think I don't think I have to let my viewers know, but yeah. I feel like I view this closer to a poem, and how when a reader approaches it, some people go, this doesn't make sense to me, the words are too flowery, or some people just don't see the merit, and then others do, and then even if it doesn't necessarily make sense. Yeah,
because there is, like, a lot that I would say is quote-unquote wrong with this season, or a lot of things that just don't make sense to me, or a lot of things that I disliked. But at the end of the day, like, looking back on it, looking back at it as a whole, I don't have negative feelings until I sit down and, like, analyze it.
Yeah, no, so I like this move. I think I texted you when I finished, and I was like, wow, I'm, like, moved to tears.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, especially in regards to the stuff that happened to Victor, and I know that's not many people hold that opinion. Like, I really liked the whole beautiful, scary, kind of creepy creature design, and I liked a lot of it, but I know some people didn't, so I was like, okay, it is okay. It's getting us thinking. But I want to talk about this real quick before I forget, because we get to see in this alternative universe.
My boys.
They're your boys.
Clagger, especially. You know I love Clagger.
Giga Chad Clagger is the best way to put it. Yeah. Clagger actually looks identical to someone I know in real life, so I immediately screenshot that. I was like, yo, when were you going to tell me you had your secret Arcane appearance?
Arcane cameo.
Your Arcane cameo. But Milo, like, I hate to say, looks exactly how I thought he would look.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
He looks exactly how I thought he would look.
He needs to get rid of that mustache and the eyebrows. He needs a trim.
I don't know. Whipple, what do you think of his mustache? I feel like it's alright.
I'm not a fan of the mustache.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I like it. It's cute. It's like a little.
I would not tend to agree.
Yeah, okay, maybe you could go. Anyway, so yeah, they have an interaction, and throughout this, we kind of see Ekko still really out of it. In, let's see, where we at? Minute. Okay. But yeah, so he's really out of it. He's kind of in disbelief. I think it's supposed to be implied from the way he's looking at Clagger and Milo that he's not really like the same way he felt towards Benzo when he saw Benzo.
Yeah.
But again, like, I don't really understand how we got from that moment of him hugging Benzo to him at this table with Milo and Clagger, because if he was like, he would have hugged him, and what is the first thing he probably would have said backing away from Benzo? You were dead. Oh my, like anything other than what everything would have come undone.
I don't know.
Why would he act normal? Why would he just continue to follow Powder to a pub and sit down?
If you don't know what's going on.
If you don't know what's going on, you'd ask questions. It's Ekko. It's Ekko.
I don't know.
Ekko's not a passive character.
I don't tend to agree with that.
You don't
especially especially if you realize that because he even says, I feel like I woke up in the wrong dimension. If you really feel that way. Okay,
I can give you that then. But all the way up there then until when he gets confirmed by Heimerdinger that he's in another place, why would he not at least at that point start going around and be like, hey guys, I'm not from this place?
Because how do you address that?
What do you mean, how do you address it? You're telling me if you were to blip into another universe, you would act like you would be like, yo, I'm just gonna fucking chill? What?
No, but I would do the same thing of trying to figure out how to get out.
And yeah, but you wouldn't, so like, for example,
I don't know if I would tell everybody.
I'm not gonna tell everybody, but at least talk to people closest to me.
I think Powder should have known.
Powder should have known. It's crazy.
And that is one of the questions. I want to talk about the ethics of what he did.
Oh, the kiss?
No, I want to talk about the ethics of the whole thing.
The whole thing, okay.
Him not telling her is very ethically...
I just don't understand, like, it's... Okay, so it's just a lot. Like, I think the backup... I would have loved to see the second... I needed to see the second that he's done hugging Benzo. Benzo would be like, what's gotten into you? You know what I mean? And he's like... Ekko's just came from a universe where he was... dead set on killing Jinx. Everybody is... You know what I'm trying to say? Like, all of this is... I don't know how he would just stay dead silent and then waddle his way to a bar and still stay silent. But, whatever.
I think the surrealness of it is stopping him from asking questions.
The surrealness of it is stopping
because he's in such disbelief that I don't know if the questions have even entered his head yet. I mean, I'm sure they have, but the thought to ask... Like, it's so overwhelming that I don't know if he would... I don't know if I would start... Because, like, you're going to sound nuts.
I know you would sound nuts, but...
Like, you're going to sound nuts. Like, if you come in and you're like, hey, I'm from a different dimension, trust me, guys.
Hear me out. If I thought wholeheartedly I was from a different dimension, I would tell people I was in a different dimension. Because that's the thing is, I would need to know if I was crazy or not. Like, how would you not want to know if you're crazy?
He doesn't want people to think he's crazy.
Do you think you would care if you thought you were crazy? If you thought you were from another dimension?
I think I would.
Dude, okay, go to another dimension and let me know.
You go to another dimension and let me know. Because, like, I genuinely don't know if I would be able to ask that question because everybody's going to be like, are you good? You're nuts.
Then I would get confirmed that, like...
Would you, though? Because this is so real in your head. You know you're from a different dimension. But then everybody is like in utter disbelief. They're like, "Yo, you're just making shit up." Like, and nobody's gonna trust you anymore. You can't figure out things anymore because people are like thinking that you're a nutcase.
But then he can't have it both ways. He either can think thoroughly through this enough where he's deciding not to say anything so he's not perceived as insane, or he's in such a state of disbelief and shock that he can't think. Which one is it?
Well, no, I don't think that he's like... I don't think those are mutually exclusive.
I mean, it's pretty hard to hold both true at the same time.
Yeah, I don't think he's like thinking it out like, oh, I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want them. I want to play. I want to play the mask. I want to play the detective here first before I start asking questions.
Okay, we can get into the ethics of it. I'm sorry. I felt like his reactions didn't match Ekko. Most importantly to me, like whatever I would do out of the question, Ekko feels like a character who wouldn't just sit by. But I'm trying to absorb your opinion of, like, he was in such a state of disbelief. I just didn't like the time skip from when he hugged Benzo to him sitting at a pub. Because I feel like there's so much that would happen in that initial landing of being in another universe. Yeah. That first minute we should have at least seen.
Yeah. He would start, he would at least, like, ask questions that sounded
weird.
Or
if you wanted to do what you think, like, where he just settles into this idea of, like, staying calm and just, like, trying to observe, which is what he seems like he might be doing. Show us that he's making that choice, right? Like, he's hugging Benzo, he's clearly like, oh my god, I'm in a, like, that, he understands that Benzo is dead, and he's giving him a hug, he's in disbelief. Have him, like, back away, show us that he's, like, the sound, maybe sound design, have the ringing stop, and then he's like, okay, I need to stay calm. Anyway, okay, so, you want to talk about the ethics. Is there something specific, like, in your notes that you wanted to mention?
Not in my notes specifically, but in general, like, the ethics of not telling Powder, your significant other in this universe, that, you know, you're from a different universe, that you're not her boyfriend in this.
Oh, like, even before the kiss, just saying, like, hey, I needed to... Maybe it's for the thing that you just argued. He didn't want people to call him crazy.
But after the Heimerdinger thing.
After the Heimerdinger thing.
After this scene, especially. Before then, okay, I can forgive it. It's up to a certain point that I can forgive it. But once he asks for her help...
that's not pointless dialogue. If you think that's pointless dialogue, I don't know how in the world that's pointless dialogue. He is just... I agree. Arcane's been phenomenal with not giving us excess in any regards. They could just get the bare minimum we need. Manamuchi. Very true. Very true. That is by no means excess dialogue. It is this is the whole kit and caboodle of what's happening right now. And it's not like the whole thing, the start, ending, in the middle. Yeah. But I agree with you. The ethics were tricky because it's like when he starts doing the experiments with Powder. Yeah. I was like,
and starts growing closer to her.
Yeah.
In his own way, and starts developing feelings for her.
In his own way.
Yeah. There needs to be a discussion there because now you're ignoring that. First of all, you came in, right, and you almost ruined. When they go to see Vi, he almost ruins the relationship completely. He has all these conversations with different people. Like, he does not tell a single person. Almost ruins their relationship. Then goes back, tells her about this different future, basically, without directly telling her, but tells her about this different future. It shows her the painting of Vi and everything like that. Asks for her help, regrows that relationship, fixes it. And then grows his own relationship with her. They're at some point, like, it needs to be a discussion because you're not who you say you are. Yes, you're the same person.
Maybe in his head, it's like we've just both been steelmanning each other to help each other's arguments, but like maybe it's because he's trying to. Like, his mission is more important to him than the ethics of what he's doing. Like, his value hierarchy is this. It's more important to get home than to tell the truth.
And then I don't think he should have pursued that dance.
Then he shouldn't have pursued the dance.
I don't think that he should have danced with her, or that he should have sat on the step.
He got in his feels. We all make mistakes when we get in our feels.
In that moment, to either kiss her or to tell her, he had a decision to make there, and I think it was ethically wrong of him to kiss her.
Definitely that moment. But yeah. Because he must understand, like, this is not me.
No.
It's not.
Like, it's like a twin brother. Literally.
It's like a twin brother is a good comparison, but it's still slightly different than
it's
that.
It's a little different,
especially because Ekko is like actively trying to kill
her. Kill her in a different timeline. He had given up on her in a different timeline. Not to say that he didn't feel this way towards her in that timeline, but
like the conversation they have later on with the whole "you were different in my dream too" kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just also was confused. Like the question.
He also paints her in a very positive light with that dream.
With Jinx?
Yeah, he paints Jinx in a very positive light.
But yeah, we'll get to that. I'm gonna keep skipping around. We're just gonna go a little crazy because that's how we're doing it the chaos way today. But yeah, but on a positive note, Whipple and I know for a fact that Whipple did love the Heimerdinger song.
Oh, I love it.
You love it too?
Oh, I love it. Whenever it comes, I've been listening to the whole soundtrack, just like whenever I drive around, whenever that song comes on, I turn it way up. I blast that.
So like that like tells me a lot about what you view as morally okay. He said a dance and a single kiss, like it's not no it's not even a level of like okay physical trust, physical touch, whatever. Like if you want to say it's not that much physically. But it's more of like the principle, the ethics,
deception.
It's the deception, active, continual betrayal of trust.
I wouldn't mind it so much if her and Ekko weren't in a relationship beforehand. If her and the other Ekko, I should say, weren't in a relationship beforehand, because now she doesn't view him as this otherworldly Ekko. She views him as her partner that she's been with for God knows how long.
And also, what if your partner said like the line of like when they went to go see Vi, right? So Heimerdinger here.
Did you do it?
Heimerdinger here knows that Vi's dead, right? Doesn't really inform.
No, doesn't really catch him up. Doesn't really. Have
doesn't catch him up at all. And I would be like, if I were you, I'd be like, hey.
By the way,
maybe you should know this before you go, because like this.
Here's the key points I've been putting together through the past 1,000 and so days.
If we're trying to keep undercover, which it seems like maybe they're trying to do, then he would need to let, like, it's just there's too many. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm getting overwhelmed. But I liked how they made them throw up. I don't know. I felt like that added to like the dizzy level.
Yeah.
Like, how you would experience disoriented of it. Because Jayce also throws up too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he does for a different reason though. Because he's on his back in the rain. He's getting waterboarded.
Oh,
while he's passed out. Yeah, I wrote that down in my notes. I was like, I love how they made him like spit out water because he's basically getting waterboarded in this scene.
I didn't take it that way. I took it as from the teleportation. But yeah, okay. So let's go back a second. Just a second if we can. But so we need to get across to what Heimerdinger is saying to Ekko in this scene, because he seems like he's given up in regards to there's no hex tech here, right? So we understand that
he's content.
He's made peace with what's happened, and like he seems like he can't do anything about it. Might
can't
as
go
well,
back.
yeah, and might as well enjoy it. He said, "I'm afraid hex tech was never invented here, so there's like no anomalies. This place will grow on you. You'll see." And then Ekko, in my opinion, is like the one that would be saying what I think most people would be saying is like, grow on me. I have people back home who need me. We don't belong here. I was curious. So Heimerdinger in this, let's establish what's happening in this universe, right? What we know. We know that Hextech was not established.
Yes.
Vi died.
Yes.
Right. So we also see that Silco is still here.
Yes.
Later on. But the thing is, when we first watched season 1, Silco was already pretty underway with all of his shimmer stuff. He was right on the brink of shimmer. He had Singed going. Why would Vi's death stop that? Or maybe I'm just misunderstanding and there are several...
I don't think there are.
...differences.
I don't think that's the case. So, my whole thing is that, especially with these things, there's always like there has to be one difference. There can't be multiple, because then that makes it not.
I think there has to be.
That makes it not a parallel timeline and a completely different one.
Completely different universe. Entirely.
Yeah, completely different universe. This isn't just the mission went bad. This is a completely different universe. So you can't say that like it branched off from this one point. This is where we get into the
mechanics thing. We didn't. Yeah. The mechanics aren't established to us.
They're not established well. But my argument for this was the entire reason that Zon exists is because Vi was being born.
Vi was being born?
Well, sorry. Their entire not the entire reason that Zon exists, but their entire motivation was because when Vi was being born, remember that bar scene that we see in the flashback with Warwick?
Oh, yeah.
And the entire thing was Vi was being born, and they said, like, what's the whole point of doing all this if we can't bring up a few ankle biters? That specific ankle biter died in that scene. That, I think, could make Vander send the message, first of all, and Silco drop everything that he was doing and start working with Vander again, and make him really realize what he was doing. And I think maybe stop the production of Shimmer completely. They were on the brink, but it was still very early.
Oh wait, Eric pointed out that Silco doesn't have the dark eye.
He does not. And I was going to ask, does he have that in the first episodes? The first time that we see Silco, does he have his Shimmer eye?
Yeah, in the first episodes of season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing the injection in his eye all the way back then. He gets the shimmer in his eye. It's like we have that whole dialogue of like how it burns, like the toxins of the water like burned his eye.
Yeah, so I was curious if he was already doing shimmer injections within the first 3 episodes before the time skip. Or was that only after Shimmer was established?
Look, I think you remember that scene with like the cat and the rat, and then the rat eats the cat.
No.
You don't?
No.
Okay. My bad. I don't know.
Oh, yes. I do.
He has his tool all the way back then for his eye, for the injections. His eye's fucked up all the way when we first meet him. He's never had not a fucked up eye.
Yeah, I understand that. Okay. I'm saying, does he have the Shimmer eye all the way back then? Or is it like it is in this episode?
Well, I don't think it matters if it's a Shimmer eye or not. His eye's still not messed up.
It is. In this episode?
Yeah.
His eye's messed up.
Where is that at?
Way later on, right before the dance.
Right before the dance?
Yeah.
It's all scarred and messed up and clearly blinded, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not shimmered.
Wicked and orange and glowing. Though.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Ripple bestowed us with the knowledge. Thank you.
The knowledge I gave you, but you didn't trust me.
Oh, I was misunderstanding.
Yeah, see? It's messed up, but it's not shimmered.
Yeah.
So I believe it was like that back during the first 3 episodes of season 1.
Oh, so it wasn't shimmerfied yet?
I don't believe so, because Shimmer didn't really exist, and I don't think he would inject himself with Shimmer if he didn't understand it.
Yeah. Okay. So what are you?
I think that during the final stages of Shimmer, which I think he stopped because Vander sent that letter. I think Vander as soon as Vi died.
So you think that letter had the power to stop him from everything?
That letter along with Vi's death.
That letter along with Vi's death.
Because Silco
also that would make sense because Silco was there with
also shared that same opinion that Zon should be here to bring up ankle biters.
But he was at that point where he was so willing to kill, like literally that episode, he was so willing to kill.
He was, but that was because
Vander, nonetheless, and banish his kids.
But that was also due to circumstance.
What was the circumstance?
Vander was about to send Zon into a war, and didn't actively fight for freedom anymore. Because the kids stole something and faced no consequence. But now that they tried to steal something and faced a consequence,
Vander would have to go, oh.
I think it changes the entire story. I think it changes how Silco feels towards everything. Because Vi...
Okay, you're making a good argument.
Because Vi dying there would really make him reconsider, because now we have kids stealing from these...
But he must have been on the verge of supporting the Singe stuff, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think he was in production.
In the production, yeah.
I think he was in the production.
Timeline does overlap.
But I think seeing Vi die and seeing that these kids felt the need to steal, and that stealing got them killed, because we're in such a shitty situation here in Zon, because we haven't done a good job of making Zon what it should be. Like, Vander and I haven't done a good job because we've been separated.
Do they still have that? Because he has this line here about the forgiveness thing. Like, Silco really is a completely different character.
He is, and I think that Vi's death would make him this character. Because again, it is the whole reason that they wanted to make Zon a safe place, was so that they could raise those kids. And seeing them die, I mean, I would change my way.
Yeah, okay, I agree. I think you convinced me. The problem is, as a viewer, if we could have had a 3rd season and space this out slower,
and
maybe showed a scene, of that,
shown the actual differences that are within this.
just this episode could have been
even
like
if it was a montage or something.
Give me a montage. Give me something. Dirty little montage. Slap
like Life is Strange. When you change one thing, it shows you little pictures of other things that have changed throughout the timeline. Give me that.
I would like to point out quickly.
Yeah.
The very first appearance of Silco, he has the fucked up eye.
Does he have this?
Does he have the shimmer eye?
That's so.
It is glowing in orange. Correct.
Is it really? Oh.
So that is interesting.
The first appearance you see is him actually using it on his eye.
Yeah, so I thought that. Okay.
When is that?
That's right. So that's
it's before the job.
Ooh, that is interesting.
I don't know if it's before the job. Well, he has the shimmer eye before the job. Okay, we have to lay out the timeline because this is actually
it's before Vi dies. Yeah.
Yeah, it's before.
It would be before Vi died. That is interesting.
That he already has a shimmer eye.
Correct, and I think it's also important. Heimerdinger's been there for over 1,000 years. And
1,000 days. 1,000 days.
1,000 days.
Yeah.
Well, he's been in the Undercity doing nonsense for an extremely long time.
He's been learning how to play that hella guitar. What are you talking about?
Yes.
Has been learning how to play the guitar for 1,000 days.
Yeah, he's got to take his time with these things. He's got time.
Well, he's given up. He's
given up. He's resigned to the life of a street performer. But no,
his eyes messed up.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because, I mean, that would support the case that there is multiple differences.
Yeah, because that's what I was trying to say. I think it has to be multiple differences, because I'm not convinced that Vi's death would cast... You made a pretty close argument, though, but I feel like I don't know, maybe it's still possible, but...
It could
be because he was steadfast.
He was in the early stages of it, and yada, 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 but, like, I don't know if I could make that argument, like, concretely now.
And Vander was... Wouldn't Vander be... Okay, with Silco and his goals, how he was in Season 1, right? Would he not be even more motivated to change and get Zaun as its own city if Vi died? Wouldn't he be like, this is enough?
I think he would be, but I think he would also... I think you could make the argument that he would see how much better it was working with Vander.
How much better it was working with Vander?
Because when he was working with Vander, they were prospering. But when they split, when they had their falling out and they split, that's when Zaun became the Undercity. Like, the Undercity that it is in our universe. So I would argue that, like, him seeing that side of things. Like, I think, and I think it would also push Vander to send the letter, which would add to it. Or maybe even send a different letter. Just have a conversation with him, because that would make you reevaluate everything, having those kids die.
Venus makes a good point, too. Caring for Powder in Season 1 also gave a good demonstration for how he could care for a kid while still being, well, Silco. Yeah. Because he really... Because I think at the end of the day, that's what was so interesting about Vander and Silco. They both had the same goal, but very different ways of getting there. Different beliefs of, like, what it took to get to that goal. Like, Vander kind of represented that pacifist, whereas Silco was more of that materialistic, you have to make physical change. Even if it requires violence or ethically questionable things. Acts of doing that. I don't know. I'm not convinced that Silco would have changed this much, but because he experienced I don't know. I guess that's supposed to be implied that it's that letter.
Yeah.
That changes everything, right?
Yeah, I believe it is.
Eric said this episode is hurting my brain. I feel you. And that's the thing, too, is like this little Heimerdinger song moved me emotionally. I actually added it, I know Whipple did too, to a special playlist of like songs that just touch us in a beautiful little way. But at the same time, I was just like, what is happening? What is happening? I do not understand.
Heimerdinger singing?
Heimerdinger singing? Yeah. You guys both didn't realize it was him singing.
No, I did not realize it was him. I was so...
Me a little bit.
Yeah, I was so, like, when I saw that it was him, I went, wait a minute!
Oh, yeah, you know what? That's another good point. Veternova said, would a letter even make Silco change his mind, though? Their principles at this point. Silco is glad he experienced that event. He is. He talks about that, right? Mm-hmm. And how it shaped him. It's tricky.
So, the reason... I'm not arguing that the letter is the only thing that changed him.
And Vi's death with it.
I think that the loss of someone that he would consider his own child.
He did not consider... No, he did not. No, did you not remember how he treated Vi on that bridge? He was going to kill Vi himself.
That is true.
He did not care.
But I think if Powder was there, he would have also tried to kill Powder.
That's
until Vander died and she collapsed in his arms. Like, okay. I think the circumstance is what changes how he acts towards them. I think he's very volatile during those episodes.
So you think that's not like baseline Silco?
No, I don't think. I think Silco encountering them within an aggressive tone is different than Silco's feelings towards them. Like, I think if Powder was there with Milo, Clagger, and Vi, I think it would have been different. I don't think that he would have. I don't think he would have accepted Powder in that same way that he did if Powder hadn't like just dropped into his arms.
Yeah, well,
I think he would have been aggressive towards her.
That's I guess what I'm just saying is he clearly shows that he doesn't care about those kids in the same way that I don't think the death of Vi would have motivated him in the same
there's also so much circumstance there.
And he was the way they characterized him. No, that's all I'm gonna. I can't.
I don't know. I think there's too much different, too many things that are different in that scene. That these are people actively trying to free your prisoner, so you have to attack.
Yeah, so I understand.
That's his principles.
Yeah.
But if these kids, I don't feel like he had any disdain towards them. If anything, he had some care for them. And having them just die outside of them trying to free Vander is different, inherently.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it is a lot of. I think
Silco did not care about the kids. Like Silco didn't care about Vi and Jinx. I don't think he would care about the death of Vi in enough of a way for it to impact him this way. That's all. Listen, I'm equally as a viewer as you.
Yeah,
I walked away from this show. I love this show.
I will say I disagree, but
that's fine. That's fine. I'm just saying mine's equally valid. Yeah. I experienced the show the same way you did. I put it on, hit play, watched it, and that's it. I wasn't paying attention to nothing else. I was confused how Silco had changed so much from a single act. And I feel like I did really understand him. I literally have myself named as Silco on the server. I was like, I like this man. I understand his character. I guess I don't. And if that's the thing is, if I don't understand his character, like if I truly don't, and I'm misunderstanding what they want me to see in him, I don't think that's necessarily my fault. When I'm sitting here as a really engaged viewer, right, actively trying to participate with this text, going like, what does it have to offer me? And I don't see it, and I miss it, and I'm sitting here confused, and I disagree, like, with what's happening. That to me speaks to like the show not doing a good job. And I'm not saying just one source data. I go, okay, maybe I am wrong. Let me talk to a whole bunch of people. And I talk to you and you're like, oh, it makes sense to me. But then I get other data points and it's like all over the place. It's like, like not even 50-50. It's like half understood, a quarter understand, a third, Yeah. And I just get to the point where I go, okay, I think there's something they're doing wrong in the story to get this across in, like, a good way. A better way. An effective way. But to each their own.
Yeah.
And chat's having a field day because it's, like, I'm not trying to conflate different versions of Silco. I'm just trying to say, like, it's he would change. I almost want to draw a timeline. Hold up. Let's draw a time. Should we draw a timeline?
Yeah.
I feel like we need to draw a timeline. But that's just maybe at the end we'll draw a timeline because we do have to go. We can't stay very long today. So should we just continue with all the Ekko stuff first and then go back to Jayce's?
Yeah, that's how I wrote my notes. But up to you.
Okay. So what else do we have for Ekko stuff? We have the moment where Ekko's like, I messed up. I painted this painting for you. Yeah, I have this scene resonate.
I think he should have told her here.
You think this is the moment where he should have told her?
Yeah, especially because he describes it as a dream. He describes it as, hey, I'm still this same guy, and my previous life was a dream. He doesn't describe himself as a different person, which I find very wrong, in my opinion. I understand why it would be hard to come out with that information, even if she would believe you, because I think Powder would. Why are you laughing?
Sorry, someone made a funny thing in chat, so I laughed. I was listening while chat made me laugh. Chat, you guys are funny.
But I understand that it would be hard to explain that, and I fully believe that Powder would understand and believe him. But I understand why he wouldn't. But I think he should have.
You think he should have at least tried?
Yeah.
Even if it didn't
go well, or even if she had differing opinions.
Mm-hmm.
But if anything, hey, I'm not your Ekko. I want to get him back. I want to leave this place. Help me. I feel like she would help.
Mm-hmm.
But hiding that is.
And it shows. They hint at the idea that she is understanding something's going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They hint at it, but I don't think she knows for sure, which makes it
okay.
questionable.
Ooh, can we talk about this moment? I have yet to talk about this with anybody on the internet, and I haven't seen anything about it on the internet. So,
which moment?
Little 16 viewers in chat, I need you to be the first 16 people to disagree or agree with my a perception of what happened here. I think. Hold up, I gotta find it. I think Heimerdinger might be invisible.
Invisible?
I don't think he's dead. I know that's a crazy take, but hold up. Like, I don't think he's dead. I have to find it. I should have marked it, but I don't think he's dead. Because, here, give me a second to try to explain
if you're talking about the scene where he quote-unquote dies, it's all the way by the end.
All the way by the end?
Yeah, right around here.
Okay. Alright, chat. Hear me out. The menace sauce who's been making me laugh a lot has just said what? Listen, I'm gonna play the sound, okay? I'm gonna play the sound and listen to look at the visuals, okay?
Okay.
The thing floats like it's being held still, and then you can hear little pitter-pat footsteps away.
Okay, well I can't hear, but
okay, so just you have to have, I mean, I could be insane. I could literally be insane. That is not infeasible. So let me just get it closer to that point. Okay, so he plugs it in. Hold up. Fun stuff. Okay, I should have started earlier, but it's still floating, right? Like he's vanished. It's still floating. They like my silly theory. Okay, let me play the sound. Hopefully it's not too loud for you guys. Let me start it off lower. We're gonna replay it a few times, okay? Footsteps! Guys, there's footsteps! Like, there's literally footsteps!
Wait,
Okay, I'll put the headphones on SD. Guys, I'm playing it again. There's footsteps and it floats. He is alive and he scurries away. I have not heard a single person talk about this on the internet, and I've been waiting to drop it on the live stream, but, like, listen, if you guys make this go viral, because he is alive, and no one's talked about it. And I've tried to tell people, like, Heimerdinger's alive. Like, no, he's not. Like, I swear that's Heimerdinger. Okay. Maybe I'm crazy, though.
I do want to let you know how insane you sound.
Conspiracy theorist 101. But, like,
oh, wait, turn the sound back on.
No, I'm gonna wait till... Okay. But I know I sound crazy, and I'm probably wrong, but my little brain is just like... Okay, let's get it closer. It floats. Here's my evidence. It floats... And then, well, you know what? Chat's saying it's powder, but let's see if powder moves.
There's a bunch of other stuff
but
that's
listen.
float because of the thing.
Wait, listen.
Yeah.
Wait.
I'll talk about that. I'll tell her that in a second. Hold on. That's definitely powder.
No.
That's definitely powder. I'm sorry, but that's definitely powder. That is definitely powder.
No, it's not powder.
Especially because I feel like Heimerdingers would be tip 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 tip.
Yeah, they sound like tip.
But no, they're tap 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 tap. They sound like heels.
Nah.
I'm sorry. I love this theory, but Whipple also said that doesn't the arcane stuff make everything else float, which I was going to also point out.
Does it make everything else float?
Yeah, that's why
he watched a little screwdriver float up and kind of disintegrate while they were testing the machinery earlier on.
Yeah, and also it's why the gloves are light. It's why the hammer's lighter. It's why they float, and when they initially figure it out, like Victor and Jayce.
That makes me low-key suicidal. I'm so sad.
I love the idea that he was fucking vaporized.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
No, I love the idea that he was fucking invisible and just ran away.
Oh. Oh.
I'm gonna hurt excited.
I mean, it's not impossible that he survived somehow, but...
Bargain. This is another stage, bargaining.
Listen.
Also, yeah, as someone pointed out, and I think I've mentioned before, Yordles don't... So he was vaporized, but he was just got a one-way ticket back to Bandle City. He's not actually... They don't die. They just respawn.
Yeah. So. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. No, I mean, like...
Coping. Give me a second.
I like the theory.
You like my theory?
I like the theory.
Can we respect it was at least a fun theory?
I can respect that it was a fun theory.
Okay. Well, alright, chat, don't make that go viral, because I was...
No, chat, make that go viral. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Let's make it canon that Heimerdinger's alive. I mean, they are made out of magic. Going invisible is not out of the question.
Oh, okay. Well, in my mind, I'm gonna choose to be delusional and think he ran away.
He's alive. Yeah, he's alive.
He's totally alive.
Yeah, he's alive. That's why they never focus on his death, because Ekko knew.
Ekko knew.
Yeah, that's why he was never sad.
It's okay. I made a calculated misjudgment.
Yeah, Smeech is alive too.
Smeech is alive too. I love Smeech. I miss Smeech.
I know.
What if Heimerdinger just switched places with Smeech in that moment? That would have been fun. Just go for pure chaos
Body
at
swap.
that point. Guys, I always play as a wild mage in D&D. Can you tell? Okay. Alright, well, he's not invisible then. I guess I thought he was, and I was wrong. So, we'll continue on.
No, you weren't wrong. You were theorizing.
I was theorizing. True, I was cooking, as the
you were cooking.
I was cooking, but I think I burnt. I didn't cook very good.
It's smoking a little bit.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, so basically at the very end of this plot line... Oh! Menace has a better theory, so we'll keep that out. But at the end of this plot line, we have a successful swap of... I don't know, like, extracts him from him itself, and then...
Puts them both in the same universe for a second or two?
For a second or something, and then, like, you could kind of tell that Powder realizes what's happening, and then gets a look at the other Ekko.
Ekko looks hard as hell, that's all I'm saying.
Ekko looks hard as hell. Okay.
That fit goes crazy. I know he misses that.
You know he
missed that fit.
Yeah, his little tie.
Yeah, I know he missed that fit.
The same. I wonder, did they do the montage show him wearing different clothes or anything like that? Because I feel like if your whole life dressed a certain way, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, actually, I'm gonna start wearing ties.
Yeah.
You'd be like, I'm uncomfortable. You know?
I don't know. He wears a crop top in the 9th episode. I feel like he's no stranger to trying out new outfits.
Cool. Oh, I love this song, by the way, the dance in isolation. I was happy with it.
Oh, I love the dance.
If I ignored everything else, I was
everything about it, I love the dance. Hold on,
look at his little dapper outfit. He's so dapper.
Yeah, he is dapper. He is quite dapper.
He is quite dapper.
What the hell is going on? I just saw Smeech and Rictus.
Oh yeah, Smeech and Rictus power couple for sure. Are you kidding me?
What has gotten in the chat? We leave you guys for like what, 3 weeks?
2 weeks and later, and then chat's
We're
just
talking about Smeech and Rictus.
Oh, here's the theory. When Heimerdinger did that, he got sent back to in time to Universe 1, and his appearance changed into Smeech, and then Heimerdinger becomes Smeech. I 1,000% believe this all my heart and would never lie. So
and then he would have to live again, like a new life as a Yordle.
Yeah, and that's why he was acting so weird.
And that's also why he's so disheveled, because he's so old.
Oh my gosh.
That's why he doesn't have his legs. He's gone through a lot.
He's gone through a lot. Actually, I was really hard on Heimerdinger, wasn't I?
Yeah,
he's going through a lot.
Yeah, he's going through a lot.
Someone's like, he's lived a long time and he should know better, but whatever. What do I know?
Yeah, what do you know? Stop it.
I don't know. I haven't lived that long. Okay. So, yeah, that's our plotline for the Ekko and... I almost said Smeech. Ekko and Powder. They share a dance. They share the very questionable kiss that Ho-Ham's cool with, which is fine. Everybody has their own boundaries of ethics, I guess, but I also was really uncomfortable here. I remember I backed away, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Like, okay, looking at it from not the ethics stand view, I love the dance. I love the 4 frames per second thing.
Do you think that it just feels weird?
Yeah, I love the way that Powder dances like her mother. I love that she even kind of looks like her mother in the dress.
Oh, yeah, she did look really pretty in the dress, didn't she?
Yeah,
I think
Whipple
said something along the same lines.
Perhaps.
Whipple was like, oh, that's so pretty. I was like, someone have a crush on Powder.
Yeah, no, she does look very pretty here. Love everything about this scene.
Makeup's fire. Well, we actually, earlier on, I should have paused it. I made a note. We see that she's quite the artist. I mean, we've known that about our Jinx from our universe for a while now, but we get to see in less of... Ooh, and we even see here.
Which, by the way, would point Powder towards this not being her Ekko more so.
What's up?
Did you see the in the very first scene that we see? Did you see Ekko's drawings? Her Ekko's drawings.
Oh yeah.
They're so shitty. They're so bad. They're so cartoony. And then all of a sudden he paints Vi as a mural. No way. That's not my boy. That's not him.
You're like, oh yeah, she's like, you painted?
Yeah. She's like, you painted this?
It's the guy.
The guy?
It's the guy that causes all the problems.
Oh, the monkey guy.
The monkey guy.
The little monkey.
Yeah.
The summer monkey.
Okay. But yeah, I wanted to show like all the art stuff because I guess she kind of used it and captures it in a more yeah, there you go. You can see some of them here.
Yeah.
So you can see the Powder.
Like she's still an artist. Ekko, not an artist in this universe.
Relax. Artist is Ekko's an artist in technology, and that is his art in his own right.
Okay, sure, okay? But like he's not like a artist, you know.
Okay, well, I watched you struggle to draw a stick figure last night for like 40 minutes, didn't I?
All right.
Okay.
I never said I was an artist. I don't know where this is coming from. He became a noodle.
Not to interrupt, but I have to head out.
Okay. Thank you for joining.
You're welcome.
With your wisdom. Have a good night.
Goodbye, Whipple.
Bye.
We can't harp on Whipple now. But yes, okay, so that's that Align. Vi is dead in this universe, and we find out at the very, 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 very end that still has the crystals, which we tried to talk over. But we're gonna talk about, I guess, Jayce's stuff then.
Yeah?
Yeah? Because that's what this episode's switching between. So we get Jayce in... I love the memes that were, like, back and forth.
He just wakes up in the absolute apocalypse. It's so jarring, too, just to send him here.
I think they're trying to do the parallel universe thing, where, like, one of them is the worst and one of them's the best.
Yeah,
to show
for
you
sure.
What can happen, show you what the stakes are. He throws up, and then after he looks around for a bit, we get, like, the mysterious wizard man.
Yeah.
Who, at this point, we do not know who it is.
No, not at this point, but we do figure out who it is.
Should we just talk about who it is now?
I mean, yeah, we've already spoiled a lot. I mean, I already said the conversation that he has with...
Well, I think it's important, right? Because it implies that it's Victor leading him somewhere.
Yes.
So, like, we need to kind of talk about that because...
Yeah.
It being Victor...
Which, by the way, because I didn't know who Rise was, I never agreed with the Rise theory.
Oh.
I had no idea who this guy was. I was like, yeah, apparently it's this dude. I don't know if that's the truth, but...
I can't make heads or tails of...
Also, my brother has watched Arcane.
Yeah.
After seeing all this,
yeah,
he still believes that the wizard is Rise.
After seeing Victor's face?
After seeing that everything.
Yeah, that's cool if I have never heard it.
Yeah, and I said, I was sitting in the car with him talking about this, and I'm like, you think it's still Rise? He goes, yeah, it's still Rise. Like, it's Rise. It has to be Rise. I was like, did you not watch the episode? Did you not finish the season? He's like, no, I watched the entire season. I was like, you saw him talk to Victor, and how Victor explained it. He sent him, he's like, yeah, it's Rise. I'm like, no. You're wrong. I'm so sorry. You could live in that fantasy. I had to concede because he would not.
You're not.
You know, I was like, you could live in that fantasy, but.
Do we have anybody in chat that thinks it's Rise still?
Please tell me.
No, I mean.
I would love to join you in your delusion.
That's how I am with the Heimerdinger being invisible.
Yeah,
Oh, interesting. I don't know if that's true, but Menace said if you look at the Emanator's portfolio,
I would believe that.
Rise. It makes sense. I was actually talking. I wish Whipple was still here because this was a big point of contention that he had. I don't want to misspeak for him, but I'm gonna try to summarize his points. He basically was like, he was kind of making the argument that there'd be a lot more meaning if it were Rise, and a lot of things in the world of League would make sense if it were Rise. And then it kind of makes a lot of confusing points by having it be Victor. Yeah,
I agree that I think the original intention was supposed to be Rise. Potentially.
Maybe they saw how much people wanted Victor and Jayce to get it on, and they were like, let's yeah, I mean, like, it's
let's cook from childhood.
It's true. They were like, we're gonna make it happen. But yeah, so this is Victor. And we also see him when he's down in the pit, too. But I think it's supposed to be, like, leading him the way?
Yeah, definitely.
Is it alluding to that?
Yeah, for sure. Because the way that he runs, he immediately sees the destruction.
Which is quite the scene, by the way. It is horrifying.
Yeah.
I like the art style of it though. It's not like a typical dystopian.
No, this is complete another
outerworldly kind of horror.
It reminds me of
Ain't no party like a Victor party.
Oh no, we are not comparing Victor to Diddy.
Oh, that's what that's from?
Yeah, you know what party like a
I
Diddy
didn't know,
party.
I'm sorry. I mean, that is quite a party, isn't it?
But the rift in the sky reminds me a lot of Dragon Age Inquisition.
I think it reminded me actually of something from the world of League of Legends. It reminded me of this big mountain that exists where there's like I don't even know how much I want to get into it, but there's like a dragon that resides there too, and a celestial dragon that resides there too. It's like the thing's called the Celestial Mountain or something like that. It's very, 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 very big mountain, very, very, very big. And I think you can get up there to talk with the gods.
Okay.
Stuff. I don't know. It reminded me of that.
Well, I mean, Victor. I mean, he does go up there to talk to a god. If you want to look at it that way.
Yeah, you ain't wrong. Yeah, I really liked this imagery. I made this my background for a bit, so I guess something's wrong with me. It also reminded me of, again, Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Seuss.
You know when Dr. Seuss, like, everything starts going wrong in the live animation of Dr. Seuss?
Oh, yeah, I forgot you talked about that.
Yeah, everything goes sideways.
Yeah.
Reminded me of that. But yeah, so now we finally get our answer to why Jayce is as disheveled as he is. But we still don't know how his leg is broken or messed up. So it's exciting to learn how. Oh, sorry. Excuse me.
Bless you.
I'm a little sickly still. Oh, should we go back and talk about the scene or no? Nah, we don't have time.
Is
this is the scene where he goes and like collects the little. Now,
it's up to you. We don't have too much time, but
we keep going.
Well, we'll see if we can get to it.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see how long it takes us to get.
We're focusing on our boy Jayce right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So Jayce is having a field day. He makes the decision to carry around his not working
big hammer,
a huge hammer, and I can understand why. I think that was
protection.
But even though it ain't working, and we kind of just get glimpses of him going through it.
Yeah.
Through it, literally and metaphorically through it.
Yeah.
While we cut back and forth between Ekko.
Something I would like to point out, though.
Sure.
Whatever Victor's plan was, it was not to turn everybody into those robots.
No. Well,
because
it was to turn everybody into to like transcend.
I don't think so. Because look how many humans there are. Still, look how many normal people there are that are just husks.
Oh, that are like nuked.
Yeah, that are just completely nuked by the runic stuff.
I was thinking about that too, but I think maybe it's because they were like decay. My perception of that was like they were decaying, kind of.
Yeah, but you can see some that still look like the robots, and then others that look like human. So, like, to me, I don't know. Was it really Victor's goal to have everybody transcend, like, willingly or not, or was it just his goal to take over?
Well, we should gotta say that for episode 9.
Yeah.
So you guys gotta tune in for whatever SD's about to say, because I think we should talk about that at the very end, only because that feels like what we talk about there. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
That will devolve into its whole. Like,
yeah, I found it very interesting that a lot of them were still human husks, rather than all being the robot husks.
All right, something to think about. Put it in the pocket. Okay. Oh yeah. So he breaks his leg by falling into a hole. If you were thinking it'd be some epic battle, it was not. He tripped.
He hits himself with his own hammer.
Yeah, he hits himself with his own hammer. But in a beautiful poetic way, which I really did enjoy, he disassembles his own hammer to support his leg to get out of the hole. So I like how he lugged it around in this manner of like, I need this, still kind of clinging to the last bit of like hex tech.
Yeah.
And then finally, when he gets out of the hole, if we look at it from like a poetic standpoint, right?
Yeah.
What it's like, letting go of that hex tech and coming out, being like, this is changed entirely, like having that new purpose, and I don't know.
I think it's giving up his dream for survival, especially
giving up his dream for survival.
Yeah.
Or maybe even realizing his dream, like, fighting against his own.
I would say, you can look at that in a grandiose sense too, because he's giving up hex tech. He's actively going against hex tech after this point to survive. Yeah. To make his world survive. That's
why I loved the fact that they had, because they really didn't need him to break his leg or anything like that, but like having him break his leg and then needing to take apart.
Also, him breaking his leg is where so many of my questions come in.
What, you have questions?
Yes.
All right, Chad, he's got questions. Help out. Hey, game.
So, first of all, the corruption that starts taking over his hammer. Because we see that over the
we do. I'll go to that while you talk.
Yeah, that's one big question I have, is does it affect everything in that world? Like, everything? Because it seems like it does. Or does it just affect hex tech-based stuff? Like, stuff with the gem in it. 2, the corruption on his leg, the infection. He has some type of infection on his leg. There's green blotches all over it. And first of all, how does he heal it? Second of all, how does he get through that infection? Third of all, how is he alive? How does he still have that leg?
How does this... Okay, I'll try my best to answer questions and then Chad can help me. First question was the corruption of it.
Of the hammer, yeah, specifically.
To me, I guess I was perceiving the story trying to say that it was like from just existing as a piece of hex tech, that it was corrupting it. I could see though, I'm not actually sure if it's like, just the world or if it's hex tech in general.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just the gem itself getting corrupted, like the magical properties of it getting corrupted, and that's like what causes it to be like what the hammer that he picks up at the end is. Or if it's just like everything gets corrupted in this world. And if that's the case, he's also eating corrupted animals.
They do make that point of that. Yeah. I think that's part of why he quote-unquote goes insane. Yeah. Because they show you, like, him being animalistic and all of that stuff. Like, I think that's part of it. I think they even the music...
Actually, can you skip back, like, 10 seconds? Because I think that's when he repairs his leg. And you can see that kind of the infection on his leg. Yeah, right here. We'll get that.
I don't know if I took that as an infection of the Arcane. I think it's just infection.
But infection in general.
Yeah.
There's no way for him to battle that. You lose a leg in that situation. You don't climb a mountain. You don't climb a mountain. Like, you know what I mean? Even with a splint.
Maybe it's just water and blood.
That's green. That is green.
Maybe it's just water
green and
blood.
Gooey.
Okay,
because look at all that. Yeah, like
yeah.
I just you know. That's my question.
Wait, I think they show later on like the Arcane affecting it. Actually, the same way.
Yeah, I believe they do. The same way that affects his wrist.
Blood. Remember Victor's blood? How it like became the Arcane goo. I think it's something similar there. So I think that's what happened. I think it was the Arcane that healed up his leg.
That healed him, especially becoming imbued into his wrist.
Becoming a part of him. Yeah, that would kind of make sense. Apparently, it looks like water from Australia. So. And Victor's giggling under the hood. I'm gonna make this man go nuts down here. So I was talking to someone about this exact question of like, why doesn't Victor just tell Jayce what to do? And like, it's a good question. You seem like you have an answer ready.
I do.
Oh, okay. I'll have my answer if you wanna. No, you go first.
I think it was. I think if he would have just pulled him and said, "Hey, here's the world," you know, like had the conversation with him right there, like this first time that he saw him. I think he put him through this, like almost as a trial, like. This is the world that you could end up in if you don't fix this. Because he's done this so many times, right? I think he may have tried to just have this conversation with him before and it didn't work, or he didn't have the same effect. Him going through this, basically going insane, is I think what really motivated him to kill Victor no matter what. Is to like why he was so steadfast and I won't fail this time. Because he doesn't want to go through this. He doesn't want the world to go through this.
There you go. I agree. Also, here's your corrupting...
Yeah, over time. Which also just shows how much time we really passed here.
Yeah, we passed. His hair gets quite long.
Yeah.
I think the way I understood it was he... it's kind of the argument of Victor needed Jayce to go through this in order for, like, the one universe to happen or whatever. You know, one timeline.
Yeah.
Some kind of thing.
Yeah, like, he's done this so many times that... Maybe he's tried other methods and it's never worked.
But I think they did a really good job with the music and the editing and the drippy drip. What would you call it earlier? The water drop method of torture?
Oh yeah, like the like something singular like in Mel's prison, the singular dropping of like a water like that constant.
No, what is that called?
Oh
that's not waterboarding. I think waterboarding is when you get like a whole.
Yeah, you get a rag on your face and you.
Yeah.
I think it's just called the water drip.
The water drip. There's something where it drips in such a methodical way.
Apparently, okay, I didn't want to say this because in case I was wrong, but it is actually called Chinese water torture.
Oh, okay. Chinese water torture. Well, I liked how they had the drippy drip because it kind of reminded me of Chinese water torture. And then I just wanted to know how you made the fire. That was my question. You had your questions? My question was like, he rolled a nat 20 on survival every time because he is in a bottom of a pit and he's using the bones and like just scraping it together.
The bones don't make sense to me. I could understand how he started his own fire.
Twice on the cliff too. He climbed a cliff fire. Do you know how hard? Have you ever made a fire? I have made a fire.
No,
that shit is hard.
It's hard. It's hard.
Unless you have flint, that is hard.
Yeah.
It is a workout. It takes like 3.5 hours with 2 people going like that. And that's even if you have like good conditions. And he's in wet conditions.
Yeah,
he's in
very
bad
wet.
conditions.
Yeah, very moist cave.
Very moist
with
cave.
bones as tinder.
I was like, damn, he is a survivalist.
Yeah.
Like, fire is tough. If you watched any survival show ever, you know that's.
I wonder if he could use anything to make sparks, like his hammer.
Ooh.
See, I forgot about this. Yeah.
There you go. That's what. So it does look like the Arcane kind of corrupted the infection and maybe.
Yeah.
But he did eat like the frogs,
how
which
he
were.
How he living?
How he living? I don't know.
Like this is so insane.
Well, he's a rock climber.
He is a rock climber. He is a rock climber.
I can't tell you how hard Esty and I were like laughing because we're both rock climbers, and when Jayce was climbing his way out of this hole, we were like, "Yeah, look at that jug!"
He slips on such a hard hold. Hold on, right here, I think, quite literally. No, right before this. Right before this. No, before this. He slips on such a hard hold. Right here, that one. Yeah. He slips and has a crusher grip on that. Like
we were analyzing his
climbing
style.
There's no way I would fall immediately.
We were like, oh. We're like,
yeah, look at that. The toes.
He's using the toe.
He's using the toes.
Yeah, he's got some good form.
Look at right here.
Ooh. He's like crushing in the rock.
He's going to pull up on a crush.
He could be holding onto a jug on the other side.
He could. Yeah. But even then, like, that's rough.
That's rough. But he's a rock climber now.
He's a rock climber. Yeah. For sure.
He definitely could climb at least V7s.
Oh, for sure he could. For sure he could. He's climbing outside.
And that's and outside climbing's harder too.
On wet. No chalk.
On wet.
No chalk.
Dude's a V10 climber.
Dude's nuts.
No way. That's crazy. This fire right here, this was the fire. I was like,
okay, yeah, this fire is
this fire. I was like,
that's
crazy.
Definitely is nuts.
You were climbing at nighttime. You still made the fire at nighttime.
Yeah.
Like, no
Where
way.
did you get this?
Just go to sleep. Just go to sleep.
Go to sleep.
But yeah.
Actually, I do wonder if he found flint down there. It is caves, and he's smart enough to know what flint looks like.
Maybe.
Yeah,
he was able to, like, piece of flint.
And he has steel.
Oh yeah, okay.
Because he has his hammer, so he can just ting, 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 you know. I know. I agree, but I'm just saying he's definitely resourceful enough.
He is a resourceful lad. He's very motivated. I'll give him that.
Wet cave.
And fucked up leg.
Fucked up leg.
Can you imagine him? Can you imagine him rock climbing in prime
peak conditions?
Peak condition.
Expensive chalk. Get him in a gym.
V19s.
Get him in a gym. No route setter is stopping him.
So yeah, he's in the hole, and I like the hole. I mean, if you guys...
I like the hole.
Well, listen. He sees some stuff. He reflects on his things. He hears voices. I love storytelling, and I feel like this is a trend across cultures, you know, like being at the bottom, rock bottom.
Yeah.
What does that look like? You know, sometimes it's portrayed literally, and, well, I think that's one of those examples, but it's a place of great change. So he comes out of this place not the same. And really long, luscious hair. Yeah, he takes part, sacrifices his old self to become who he becomes next. Yeah.
Become badass Jayce.
Badass Jayce. Sallow smash.
Victor murdering Jayce.
Yeah. Gets a cool stick. Walks through.
Victor S stick.
Soggy rock bottom. Yes. But I did really like it. I liked the montage. I liked him at the bottom. I liked the drippy drops. I thought it was effective in creating like a sense of like how long, and I felt the feeling I think they wanted me to feel. Mm-hmm. So I thought they were effective.
Hit bedrock.
And I like the creature designs of these guys. I know that some people don't, but these guys to me.
Oh, I love them. They're so cool.
Cool. They hit like a perfect balance between beautiful, ethereal almost, and then terrifying and really horrific. So balancing that perfectly is one of my favorite, most difficult. It's really difficult to get something very pretty, very, very angelic, and also like, oh my gosh, wait, I should find it in the cave when he's like down there and the one's just looking down at him.
Yeah, just staring at him.
Love that. I was like, that's cool. But
glorious evolution.
I'd become one of those robots. I wouldn't be mad about that. mean, they're not even robots.
They're not robots. But, like, I wouldn't be too happy.
I mean,
well, actually, I guess you wouldn't know. You'd be part of a hive mind.
You'd be pretty freaking happy, actually.
You'd be part of a hive mind. You'd be transcendent. You'd be gloriously evolved.
There it is. Oh, this is my favorite. I loved this so much. It kind of reminded me again of Iron Man Ultron. With when he first comes out decrepit, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed this, but...
And I do find it interesting that they don't attack him. But I think that's because...
what is with that?
I think because they're under Victor's control. I think it's Victor keeping an eye on him, making sure that he doesn't die.
So the whole time they were never going to attack him?
I don't think so. Because, I mean, Victor does...
Let's go to the next scene, because we'll see how they act. I feel like they were chasing him, kind of, but maybe they weren't.
But it could just be to scare him.
Just be to scare him. Victor's really having fun, then, isn't he?
Yeah. He truly is. I mean, if that's the case, I don't know. It could just be that they're out of his control, but I just don't find that reasonable. How does Victor lose that much control? I can understand him getting lazy, but... So tiny.
So tiny. Alright, so, Elden Ring expired in my brain. I was like... I love the art style. I think I've probably already said that a whole bunch. But these jumps that he makes from platform to platform... Dude.
Nuts.
Nuts.
How is he doing this with a splint?
I don't know.
It is actually insane.
He is actually insane. But I remember thinking that, I was like, damn, this guy is a rock climber. He's a professional.
Look at that. Look at that hold. He's holding on to that thing.
Oh, we're just having fun now, Chad. I hope you're okay. I hope you're okay with that.
Him getting up this is nuts.
Let's just take a quick appreciation for how...
Look at the path he's taken.
This looks like the Fair Mazul
area
in Elden Ring.
Yeah.
I think I might have said that wrong, but it is definitely it's like if this is the intention of Victor, to have him meet him at the top, Victor has so much faith in his ability to jump.
Yeah. Victor has so much just faith in this man. Because, like, you could have met him at the bottom. you for sure could have just met him at the bottom.
Oh, that's a good point. Skip actually said the same thing a second ago. Does anyone know why Jayce is climbing the tower rather than going back into the basement? I wonder what about maybe he saw it in his visions, because when he was at the bottom of the hole, he has, like, a flash of who he becomes. Like, you know how there's a version of him up there that was holding the hammer?
What does he mean by going back into the basement?
I presume that meant, like, you know how the Hex Tower has... Like,
oh.
Yeah.
Why would he go back to the basement?
That's where the hex core
I guess because that's where the hex core would be.
Yeah. The top is, like, what's at the top.
I feel like I'd be more drawn to the top personally, but I could understand that. That is a good question.
Especially if
Why
the
not
top's
go to the source?
pathing looks like this.
Yeah. Especially if I'm looking at that, I'm like, I got a gimp leg. Like, let me go check out my other options.
Victor wanted Jayce to get back into bouldering. That's why.
Yeah, he did. For sure, he did.
Victor is. This wasn't a very wise approach to talk. It's just, I'm not sure what the goal is. But this is the thing. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was cool. It was cool. But, like, why did he do this?
Why is he doing this?
Why Victor do that?
I guess he really wanted them to suffer. Or maybe he knew. You could argue that maybe he's so transcendent that he knew the outcome and knew he'd be okay.
Yeah, that is true.
I think you could say that.
I mean, we have argued that he's somewhat omnipotent.
Yeah, at this point.
Yeah, because, like, what we talked about in a couple episodes ago, that, like, how far does his knowledge go? Because he expected people coming to his town and everything like that.
So this is kind of like a place beyond, right? Which is very interesting to talk about. We have, not the dancing scene, but we have, when we cut back to Jayce, right, he's like going through the fog wall, I almost want to call it.
Reminds me of, what's that planet called? The Giant's Deep or something like that? In
Outer Wilds?
Outer Wilds.
Yeah. I don't remember what the planet's called, but yeah. And we see like glitch and error, kind of, like, even on the screen itself.
Yeah, it's the same error that we see, actually, Powder see in Step Scene.
You're right. But then once he gets through it, it's kind of like this pretty...
Yeah, this bliss. Like...
Yeah.
That little guy.
So, this is supposed to be like it. What is chat help? Why is it perfect up here?
I think this is probably the source of it all, right? This is the Eye of the Storm.
Oh yeah, Eye of the Storm. That makes sense. Cool. I'd take that. We find out later on that this is Jayce. And pretty quickly you're like, oh wait, isn't that Jayce's hammer? And Jayce's hammer is at the bottom of
this version of Jayce. Which actually, completely jumping topics here.
Sure.
People talking about what would happen if Vi went to the Ekko world, the world that Ekko ended up in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jayce went to this world, and he just became another Jayce.
Sorry, I lost you.
Like people were saying, if Vi went to the world that she died in, what would happen?
Yeah.
I mean, when she
she went. She died.
I think she might just become another Vi, but completely off topic.
Right. Off topic.
Yeah, completely off topic. I'm just we don't have to dive into that.
So I thought this was pretty cool because the way my brain went immediately was like, oh crap, it's gonna be a never-ending loop.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I thought. I thought it was gonna be like he's gonna end up there, and then at the very very end, just like mild spoiler obviously, but the last episode. It almost happens to him where he is like here.
We get to this position.
We get exactly this position. And he even at the very end recognizes this.
And I will say that the major difference was not Jayce.
It was Ekko. Yeah. Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Victor's like it's all about you, Jayce.
It's not.
But it's all about Ekko.
And
crap, this gets so confused.
That's why I was like there's so many circumstances here. Like that's why I said it. That's why I said it almost branches into deterministic.
It does branch into deterministic entirely.
Because all of this needed to happen so that Ekko ended up in that other universe, not Jayce. Because Jayce gets to this position every time. Because I don't think Jayce was the one to break the cycle.
Well, the thing is, Jayce gets to the same spot every time, but then Ekko breaks. So maybe it is a loop.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be a loop because he's here already.
Yeah.
And then Ekko breaks the time
breaks the loop.
Because he does the time fight stuff.
Mm-hmm. The boy who shattered time.
There you go. Okay, so maybe it makes sense.
I mean, it makes sense, but it does. That's why I say it branches into deterministic. Because of this.
Well, then I guess it could, like Veternova said in chat, maybe it isn't deterministic then because there's one timeline in which it doesn't become. It doesn't become the same thing. But then all of the other timelines, or all of the other loops are... Was everything a loop? Where does the loop start and stop? At the beginning of Hextech?
No, I mean, Victor's determining the future. I believe.
Is he?
Yeah. He wants one specific future to happen. Where he's defeated. And he never gets his way. He goes through time loop after time loop after time loop to get this right. I feel like that's the deterministic part. I mean, it's not clean.
Oh, so he keeps doing it over and over again
until he gets this right future. He is determining that they will break the cycle. Like it is not their choice. They must break the cycle.
Oh, classic chicken and egg scenario. That's actually a good way to summarize the confusion. I feel, because this imagery here with Jayce, kneeling next to the other version of him, I thought was so freaking perfect to summarize Jayce's character and like what he's battling with, I guess, inside with his idea of Hextech. And I don't know, I like the image. I listen, I like to study this stuff. This is what I'm interested in. I like imagery, what it represents, all that dumb little cliche goofy things. So seeing him kneel next to like the other version of himself, or him.
Very powerful.
You know what I'm trying to say? The imagery was strong.
Yeah.
And I did that a lot. I did water. Okay. But yeah, so he talks with the guy who, at this point, I was still not sure who was. Some people were like, they already figured it out. I was like, damn, good on you.
I had my very, very, very strong suspicion that it was Victor. Very strong suspicions? Yeah. Because I almost couldn't see it being Rise. Albeit that was because I knew nothing about Rise. I was like, where does this guy fit in, you know? I was like, this has to be Victor, right? Because the staff and everything. The staff is what really threw me. Towards Victor. But yeah, I from this point on, I thought that it was Victor.
Okay. Well, I didn't catch on until next time. I was like,
I do believe Victor? I do believe that the reason that people didn't catch on to it was because everybody was so convinced that it was Rise.
It blinded me. perhaps. No, I was pretty open-minded. I just didn't... I couldn't understand how it could be Victor, given what we just saw. My little pea brain was like, how would it be Victor?
That's quite interesting, because I mean, that's why I thought it was Victor, because of everything that we just saw.
I'm also bloody confused, if that isn't evident from our conversation. Yeah. I'm like, I'm lost! But it was weird, because I really, really liked Jayce's scenes. How they portrayed, like, a post-Piltover world. I don't know if it's the whole world. Do you think it's the whole world? Is it implied that it's the whole world?
I don't know.
Because someone probably would have come and checked that shit out if
somebody would have came to the epicenter.
So it's gotta be the whole world then.
Maybe. Either that, or it's just like some toxic area that nobody ever go. Like, it's like a no man's land. Nobody ever goes to it because they might just. I mean, you got to think about how close Jayce spawned in there. Like, how close he was to the epicenter, and like how far does it go? If you're right on the edge of it and you see no epicenter and you're just wandering in there, you're gonna die. Like, there's no chance that you survive throughout that entire journey. I mean, maybe there is, but like, it's such a small chance, and I doubt many people have gone.
Wait a second. So at the very end here, Victor tells him, like, you know, gives him his cool, now upgraded weapon. There's a side quest for an upgraded weapon, really. Mm-hmm. And then... Oh, careful you're not too loud. And then also that he... So then he goes back in time. He's like, I will not fail. And that's why we learned that he's saying that over and over again to himself. Yeah. So but that doesn't stop anything from happening?
I don't think so.
So why wouldn't Victor tell him, like, more concretely what to do? Actually,
no, I do think that stops one thing.
What does it stop?
The pod being destroyed.
Yeah, what about it?
Albeit, I don't know how important that is. Does it not look like they're on top of the pod?
The pod's not in this one.
Is it not? I thought it had grown a bunch, and that's what they were standing on top of, rather than the tower. But I guess I'm wrong, because they showed the tower earlier.
They're standing on the tower.
Yeah, I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, wrong.
But no, I don't know. I don't think this... Other than... I mean, I guess you could argue that it gives Ekko the opportunity to be a part of the fight and everything like that. And, like, buys him enough time, maybe. But, like, no, I don't think that Jayce has as big of an effect on the situation as he thinks he does. At the end of the day, it is Ekko.
It is Ekko at the end of the day.
It's Ekko who throws the Z drive and...
Oh, his thing's not corrupted yet here, actually.
No, it corrupts right after this, I believe. So yeah, that actually is a good point. So the leg healing. Well, is it even healed?
He is fine.
I don't think he is.
You don't got time to worry about your leg when the world's over. You know? Got priorities or something like that. I think it changes here when he picks up the...
Yeah, once he picks up the hammer, I think it infuses with him.
Yeah, cool stuff.
Yeah.
Very confused. I kind of sat back at a certain point and just went, I don't understand. I'm going to stop trying to understand.
What is going on?
Like, I wasn't sitting there as an audience member going, yeah, let me be a piece of shit and try to nitpick. I wasn't doing that. I was going, I can't understand what's happening. So what I started to do is dissect each moment of, like, what's happening here to help me, but then it only made me more confused. Unfortunately. But I still enjoyed it.
I mean, obviously, I have a very pointed view of this. I do feel like I've understood a lot of it. Not all of it, obviously, but I did feel like I resonated with this episode a lot.
Yeah, and no, you're fine. I was really scared to stream with you guys. I was worried to come back. I had a very stressful week. I did good on my exams, guys, though. Woo! Woo! Almost gonna graduate soon, but it's coming back. I was like, oh shit, Esty, do you think I should be honest with my audience? Like, they're all really around me for Arcane, and I really didn't like this one very much. I struggled with it. It fought with me. I think I wrestled with it and didn't come out a winner when it came down to it.
Yeah, but even then, I still think that's valid. Like, I think it's valid to feel that way towards an episode.
I did try. I just want my audience to know I did genuinely try. I wasn't set out with hard blood towards it.
No.
I had fun. I had fun with you talking about it. This was fun.
I was about to say, like, at the end of the day, you still talked about it in a way that wasn't attacking it.
Oh, I appreciate that. I mean, I just was confused. Like, what's...
Yeah.
That's just really it. I couldn't really follow. I didn't like the Ekko stuff. Ekko, I couldn't... The morality of it was... And just the questions and the conversation, the dialogue, none of it made sense to me. But the Jayce stuff, I was vibing with that.
Yeah, I think at no point during the stream were you ever negative towards
I was negative. I was shitting on it. Oh, yeah, get me. I was shitting on it. I was shitting on it. But other than that, I hope everybody... I'll be reading comments, and I'll be reading through... I love reading through the live streams afterwards. So thank you for tuning in, and we will be doing 8 and 9 as well, and... I guess it'll probably even get more confusing as we keep going, won't it?
Yeah, I'll bet.
Yeah, I mean, you seem pretty confident with what you know, so...
Yeah, but then again, everybody's just gonna disagree with me, so...
No, chat's been pretty good. I think been helping me understand some stuff. Like, I'm like, damn, okay, you know?
Yeah, I do, again, think I have a very pointed view of it, and there is going to be a lot of disagreement.
No, like, that's cool. Yeah. I appreciate that. I appreciate you can disagree with me. It's just tough because, it's really... I kind of almost want to make a video on how... interesting it is to be so moved by a piece of art, but also feel that it failed in a lot of ways, and like talk about how it achieved an emotional pull, but how maybe it failed on like a more linear kind of comprehensive path. Yeah. I'm not really sure, but it's cool. That's why we like art here. And that's why we talk about it, right? Right, chat? That's why we talk about it. Right?
Right.
Right. No sneeze. You know, you guys have been good to stream.
Oh, no
Everybody
sneezes.
gets one sneeze on the way out. So
Everybody
get one sneeze.
So you're being generous today,
being
guys.
Generous. Thanks for joining. Thanks for sticking around. And I hope everybody has a fantastic holiday. If I don't